Joining me now, Republican Congressman from Georgia, Congressman Buddy Carter. Congressman, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Pretty slow August, huh? And you're going to have a pretty slow September, right? You only have to figure out a way to fund the federal government. What's ahead for that? Budget authority runs out by the end of next month. Can Republicans keep the U.S. government open?
Well, if the Democrats will cooperate, and if they won't throw up obstacles, then yes, we can do that. And we have been working diligently. Tom Cole, who's chair of the Appropriations Committee, has put these bills forward, but they're running into obstacles, particularly in the Senate. If there is a shutdown, it will be the Schumer shutdown. There's no question about that. So let's be very clear about that. Republicans are doing our job. We're making sure that we are going to fund the government. So, again, if there's a shutdown, it's a Schumer shutdown.
At the end of last week, the White House sent back a rescissions asking for $5 billion to come back from funding. And basically, Democrats are saying, you're circumventing the congressional process. There's even an objection from Senator Susan Collins, Republican of Maine. She says this is an apparent attempt to rescind appropriated funds without congressional approval. Instead of this attempt to undermine the law, the appropriate way is to identify ways to reduce excessive spending through the bipartisan annual appropriations process. Do you think that $5 billion should go through Congress?
Well, I applaud the president for what he's trying to do. Look, in Washington, D.C., Ronald Reagan said long ago, we don't have a revenue problem, we got a spending problem. President Trump recognizes that, and what he's trying to do is to stop that spending problem. So I applaud him for what he's trying to do here. Now, whether it has to go through Congress or not, I would be willing to do that for him, and we need to do that for him because he is absolutely 100% correct. We've got to cut spending.
Mm-hmm. The Democrats say that this basically poisons the well for negotiations. If we're going to cut a spending deal with you guys and you're just going to go around it, why would we deal with you?
You know, they're looking for any kind of excuse they can to try to shut the government down.
Mm-hmm. On top of all this, you look at budgeting going forward, and you're on the budget committee. Republicans are talking about cutting more spending because deficits are completely out of control. Is that something that Republicans will tackle? Will you guys address entitlements?
We certainly want to, and we certainly should, particularly in health care. Remember, the fastest growing portion of our budget right now is Medicaid and Medicare because of an aging population. I serve on the Health Subcommittee of Energy and Commerce as well, and that's something that, and I was one of the main author of the reconciliation bill, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, where we made Medicaid even better. We saved it. We sustained it. We stabilized it by making sure that we cut waste, fraud, and abuse, making sure that illegals aren't on Medicaid, making sure that we're checking that ineligibles aren't there, and making sure that we have work requirements. All of those things made Medicaid better. We can cut that budget. We can cut spending, and we need to. Right now, the interest on our debt is so much a big part of our budget. We need to do something about that.
Mm-hmm. Now that you're back in D.C., have you seen the National Guard walking around here?
I have, and I saw them at Union Station when I came in on the train yesterday from Charlottesville, Virginia, and I thank them for being there. I mean, it's so nice right now to be in Washington, D.C., and to know that it's a safe, secure city thanks to the actions of our president.
And so you think that's a good strategy? Already Chicago was saying they don't want the National Guard there. Do you think that this should go? If D.C. is a special case, it's a federal city. Do you think the National Guard belongs in cities across the country?
Absolutely, I think they do, if the president deems that to be the case. Remember Willie Sutton, the bank robber? They asked him, why do you rob banks? Because that's where the money is. Mm-hmm. Why are we looking at Chicago? Why are we looking at these big cities run by Democrats? Because that's where the problem is.
Mm-hmm. If there was a spike in crime somewhere in Georgia, would you support that as well?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Looking forward to what the politicians in Chicago were saying. It's really about the National Guard presence. I mean, even here in Washington, D.C., the mayor has said the federal presence, the FBI and some of the federal agencies, that's helped drive crime down. It's just the idea of the National Guard. Is there a way, do you think, the administration can work with some of these local governments to try to make it palatable for everyone?
I think there is, and I think it's mainly on the local administrations. Look, I was a mayor at one time. I understood how important it was to take care of my city, to make sure that we were safe. People want that. I don't care what ethnicity you are. You want safe streets. You want to be able to walk on the sidewalks. You want to be able to go take your family out to eat. Look at what has happened in Washington, D.C. We had 2 people killed at the Israeli embassy. We had an intern Byrne, who was killed here in Washington, D.C. I applaud the president for what he's doing to make this city safer and our city safer.
One of the things Congress may have to deal with is the idea has been floating around for a while that you would have more sanctions on Russia. Are you ready to support more sanctions on Russia if the war continues to move on, which it appears as though that's what's happening?
If that's what the president needs, look, the president is trying to seek a sustainable peace here. And making sure that we are negotiating from a position of strength. That helps make America safer. If the president needs that, then look, I'm all in favor of it. Look, no one could have gotten Russia and Ukraine to the point that they are now, except for Donald J. Trump. That's why I have nominated him for a Nobel Peace Prize. He deserves it.
All right, Congressman Carter, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.